Splash Token. Introduce yourself, please, and your game. And again, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, so my name's Murray. I'm based down in Cape Town. I've been in the space since, I guess, 2021. Cardano trees mint back in August, if you guys remember. My partner and I, we were both, buying NFTs, and we decided at the end of 2021 that we wanted to actually start building something in this space. And I don't know if you guys have heard of the Art Bank. That's kind of where we started. The Art Bank was always very passionate and still is passionate about NFT art, supporting creators in the space, collecting as much as we can. And so we did that, and we still are doing that for about a year or so. And now we're kind of moving into the NFT gaming space. So we haven't pivoted away from NFT art. We're just kind of passionate about NFT games and NFT utility. And so right now our attention is on our Splash platform, which is where we're building a games arcade, just like a central location for all NFT games on Cardano and potentially other blockchains as well.
So does that mean like your platform would be like a Web 2 to Web 3 type of website, and then the games in the community would be kind of attached to that?
Well, it's just a directory. That's one aspect of our Splash platform. We also have the utility side of things, which is where the recycler is. I don't know if you guys have recycled any, dodgy, undesirable NFTs. So that's one of our utilities. And then, the arcade portal, it's pretty new. We just launched it a few days ago. And so it's a directory of all, hopefully all of the games on Cardano, where, users and players can interact with these games, learn about them very quickly, understand what NFTs are required, like, are they actually required, or, can you just play without them? What tokens are required, all the details that you'd need to get up and running, very quickly, so you can play these awesome games that are being created in the space.
All right, I did see, I did post a couple articles up above. You do have a mint coming up soon, correct? Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, for sure. So when you think of Splash, there's sort of three aspects. We've got the games, which I just mentioned, we've got the utilities, and then we have the Dawgs. So we launched Rarity Dog back in August last year, and now we have our Art Dog mint coming up. A sort of Rarity Dog transformed into a much more beautiful canine. And because we love art so much, we're sort of marrying art with utility. So what we're doing for this particular mint is we're collaborating with 25 different artists on any chain. We've got artists, from Algorand, from Avalanche, Tezos, Federa, and a few others. And so each of those artists are creating 6 dogs, and they're going to be part of the super rare collection. So 150 of these handmade super rares out of a collection of 6,000 NFTs. And with all our NFTs, we layer in as much utility as possible. So, for example, Rarity Dog, as ugly as it was, it was stacked with utility, which is what we always want to do with our NFTs.
So if I get a Rarity Dog, can you kind of just walk me through like baby steps here? Because I'm not as familiar with your STC. If I get a Rarity Dog, what access does that give me, or what kind of utility would that provide?
For sure, yeah. So I think, like our most popular utility right now is the NFT recycler. So if you have, as most people do in this space, if you've made mistakes, if you've been rug pulled, you can come onto our platform and use the recycler. And every time you recycle NFTs, depending on how we've rated them, quality-wise, you'll get a certain amount of tokens in exchange for that NFT. So right now we have a bouquet of 10 different tokens, including, we've got Rad, we've got Phoenix Arena's Worry token, we've got Clay, we've got Monet, we've got 10 different pretty decent tokens. So if you're exchanging one of your NFTs, if it's a relatively decent one, you'll get the full allocation. So that'll have a rating of 20. And now if you have Dawgs in your wallet, for each dog you have, you'll get extra 3% of all those tokens, up to a maximum of 30%. So, if you've got 10 dogs in your wallet, you're going to get 30% extra of all those 10 different tokens in exchange for your dodgy NFT that you FOMO'd into buying whenever, and it didn't perform like you hoped.
So someone who's made a lot of mistakes, this is probably the project for you for sure.
I don't know anyone who hasn't made any mistakes. You can't actually call yourself a fully fledged degen if you haven't made mistakes. If you haven't been sort of incentivized by FOMO or YOLO or whatever term you want to use, you can't actually call yourself a proper degen if you haven't made some mistakes. So I think the recycler, it fulfills a purpose for most people. I mean, we've got 25 to 30,000 NFTs in there. And so that's actually, making use of those NFTs is another form of utility that we're also integrating, because, one man's trash is another man's treasure. There's a lot of NFTs in there that people still want. So for example, maybe the Discord is suddenly recovered, they've got something new on their roadmap. There was a little bit of FUD in the Discord, and now it's okay, now everything's fine, and suddenly these NFTs have use, and their floor price is going up, and then there's a need for these NFTs to see the light of day again. So that's also part of the utility we provide, where you can actually swap out one of our dogs and choose 3 different, we call them bin picks. You can get 3 different bin picks in exchange for one of our dogs.
Do you have any numbers on how many NFTs have been through your recycler already?
Yeah, so we got about between 25 and 30,000 in 3 different wallets right now. I mean, you try and connect that wallet to any website, it'll take like 2 days. So we've split it up. So we get to about 10,000 NFTs, and then we sort of close off that wallet, and then we open up a new one. Otherwise, the transaction just takes too long.
And then another follow-up is, I mean, you mentioned RAD, and we have Cardano here, obviously. So my question is, are you collaborating then with these projects on their tokens to use the recycler, or how do you get the tokens, and how does that get distributed?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we love Cardano, we love Chris. We've been collaborating with them for ages. We love what they do. We've had Terraform, sort of contests as well in our Discord, and we've integrated a lot of what Cardano does into what we do. And so they've offered up some of their token because they believe in getting it distributed for the sake of exposure. It's a great way to get exposure, right? You've got this token. It's a way to market what you do. So, someone comes onto the recycler, they recycle some NFTs, they get 10 different tokens. They're like, whoa, what are these tokens? Let me go and learn about this project. They go to, they get some RAD, they go and check out Cardano, maybe they buy some Citizens or, get some Terraforms. It's a great way to get exposure for any project. So we are collaborating with them right now with regards to the recycler, and then also with our booster, which is a stake pool rewards, utility. So basically, if you are staking with Cardano, or you're staking with the Art Bank, or with Nova, which is the Sellerhood guys, once a month you can claim your rewards, and you will get back Monet and RAD. And we're also about to, we're going to be including the Daikatsu Ninjas token as well, because we've just added them to our recycler as they're the newest token partner we have. We like what they're about. And so if you're staking, we call them creative stake pools, because we want to reward, creativity in this space. So Cardano is incredibly creative, and obviously Nova, the Stellarhood guys, we love them too. They don't have a token yet. So if you're staking with any of those, you will be rewarded. For now, just 2 tokens, and then we're going to be adding to that as we go.
That's really cool. Thanks for explaining that better. That makes a lot more sense. And that's really a great idea, honestly. I might have to go look through my bags now and be like, okay, what can I maybe recycle? A question about the NFT games and kind of the Splash platform. Is that going to be, are you guys going to have any of your own games? Or are you going to be using the games that have already been created on Cardano, or kind of a mixture of both?
Yeah, so we do have our own game. It's called The Flipper, and we call it a flip to win vending machine game. So basically, you've got a board loaded up with randomized NFTs and tokens, and so you pay to flip one of the cards, and you could get a rare citizen, for example, because one of the boards is loaded up with citizens, or you could get a rarity dog. We've also got rarity dog there. We've got 3 boards at the moment. And so it's kind of like a sort of more interactive, gamified minting process. So it's just a bit more fun, and you can also educate people about your project. Say, for instance, you're an artist and you're not getting a lot of exposure. This is one way to sort of get your art out. We could have an NFT art board, which is made up of maybe 5 or 10 artists, a few more well-known ones and a few lesser-known ones, and then you mint one of the lesser-known guys, and suddenly you're like, oh, this is pretty cool. I've never heard of this guy. Then you go and follow him on Twitter. So it's just a good way also to get the word out. But you can do so much with it as well. So any project can collaborate with us, and they can load up the board with their own NFTs. And if they've got their own token, we can make use of that, or we can use the Monet token just to offer additional rewards. So yeah, I mean, you guys can check it out. We're still figuring out the best pricing for NFTs because prices always change. And so, for example, we've got the citizens. I think they're at 120 ADA right now, and the floors at the moment will come down quite a bit. We have dropped it to 90. Yeah, my partner dropped it to 90, so it's a bit more competitive.
Okay. And that's for the Dawgs, and that's coming out June 3rd. I believe June 3rd. That's my post up above.
Yeah, June 3rd. So, yeah, we're actually, it's probably worth mentioning now, we decided yesterday that we're going to release part on Cardano, and then the rest will be on Polygon. Because we believe in, cross-chain collaborations. We're trying to be, less tribalist, as Charles always encourages us to be. We've already collaborated with a lot of different artists on different chains for the Art Dog collection, and now we're thinking, well, Polygon has got a thriving marketplace, and we want to, bring them into Cardano, and we also want to learn a bit more about Polygon and see how, see what boxes they tick, or see what innovation, what solutions, they have for Web3 issues.
That's great. Yeah, I know that. I know a lot of Polygon, Cardano mixing has happened in the last few months that I've at least seen, just kind of on the interwebs. So I think that's always a good thing, bring more people into our ecosystem. The question I did have for you, I love that you guys are really trying to support the artists, and it doesn't matter what chain they're on, and bring them together. Can you kind of talk about how AI in the last few months has kind of changed the whole artist industry, and has that affected kind of what you've been doing, or have you seen any changes in that?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, hey? I'm still trying to get my head around AI art. I mean, we did have, because we do auctions in our Discord, and we were auctioning off one particular artist's artworks, and he was an AI specialist. And that was before I realized how easy it is to do AI art. I mean, I've played around with it myself, and with almost zero experience or knowledge, you're still able to, create something that's not too unattractive. So, yeah, we're kind of steering clear of it when we talk about art in the space. We're looking for real artists, and like for the Art Dogs, we haven't actually collaborated with any, AI artists for that collection. And yeah, I don't know what to say about it just yet. I mean, there's so much almost controversy about it. I mean, who's actually doing all the work? I've been using ChatGPT quite a lot, and I don't feel like I'm doing a whole lot of work when I'm using it. I feel like it's doing 90% of the heavy lifting for me. So I kind of feel like, AI art engines are kind of doing the same thing.
I think that makes a lot of sense for individual pieces. If it's just a single picture, I mean, right there with you. But I have to step in and say, I've been working with AI to make these shoes that we just dropped. And my God, I spent countless hours on that, and yet it was all AI generated. I mean, I went through Photoshop as well. There was a lot of work to, I guess, pull the AI-ness away. You know, sometimes you're like, oh yeah, that's a problem, and I have to go in and fix it manually, something that the AI couldn't do. But even once that hurdle is overcome, there's still the cohesiveness, the creating something with a vision for a purpose and doing it in a way that it all works together. That it doesn't just happen. It doesn't just fall out like that.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Like, there's definitely an application for it, as far as I understand. But just as an artwork itself, I hesitate to buy something like it or auction it off in our Discord because I don't actually know how to refer to it. It's created, or I mean, the guy that we had, he used to call himself a prompt engineer. He didn't call himself an artist.
Yeah, I mean, if that's all you're doing, if you're, like I said, pulling it out of the prompt and shipping it, I'm on board with that interpretation.
Yeah, it's a sticky one.
Yeah, and I don't think we're going to really know how it all affects anything till, a year or two down the road, too. Just kind of see how it all kind of settles once